Hi everyone, welcome to the muster drill. I'm Scott, and what's going on with all of this cruise ship COVID hysteria? Hi everyone, welcome back. So, did everybody have a great Christmas? I had a great Christmas, and I'm hoping that 2022 is going to be a good year for everybody and that we can finally get back to doing some of the things that we haven't been able to do, but that of course is all going to depend on what COVID does. And it's anybody's guess on what COVID's going to do for the next year. So today I'm going to talk about all of the nonsense that's going on in the cruise industry with COVID and cases on board cruise ships and cruise ships being denied entry into their ports and so on. And in my opinion, this BS narrative that the cruise lines are all to blame for it and the passengers are completely, totally innocent in it. So I'm going to be throwing this video up here from these two people that I talked about in a previous video that were on the Symphony of the Seas and that they were mad that the cruise line did not provide them with a COVID test, and they were mad that they say that the cruise line nurse told them to just go and enjoy their cruise. And they had said already in a previous article that they were very symptomatic, and yet they freely and openly admit that they went running around the ship anyway.
We all remember those early COVID patients, cruise ship passengers trapped at sea. Well, it would appear that history has repeated. A cruise ship just returned to Miami after a COVID outbreak on board. We spoke with two passengers who got sick on the trip, and they say the ship's nurse never gave them a COVID test.
It's a disturbing echo from those terrible early days of the pandemic in 2020. 48 passengers on board the world's largest cruise ship testing positive for COVID. Now, two passengers are speaking out.
The cruise line really sold us. You okay, babe? Mm-hmm. The cruise line really sold us that they were the safest place to be right now, safer than on land. And, everybody had to be vaccinated. Everybody was supposed to wear masks indoors on the cruise ship the entire time.
Alicia D'Amico and her daughter Rowena took an 8-day Caribbean cruise on the 6,000-passenger Symphony of the Seas.
Was everyone on the ship wearing masks?
No. We would go into elevators and there would be people who would have their masks either already off or they would take them off for some reason in a confined closed space. And the elevators were limited to 6 people, but it was always 10, 12, 15 people.
At first, it was the vacation of a lifetime. But then, dozens of passengers became sick. They were placed under quarantine.
Today is dessert day, okay? All day.
When Alicia and Rowena started having symptoms on day 6, they claimed they were discouraged from getting tested and had to insist on seeing a nurse.
When you reported to medical, what did they say to you?
She came out with the digital thermometer that you hold in front of somebody's forehead. And she just put that there and she's like, your temperature's normal. And then she's like, just keep wearing your mask and you can go back to cruising. And I just looked at her like, huh? Like, I'm clearly symptomatic. I'm clearly sick.
Both have now tested positive. Royal Caribbean says 48 positive tests is less than 1% of the 6,000 passengers on board. Those who tested positive were asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic, and we continuously monitored their health. They each received assistance to ensure a safe return home, a statement said.
It felt like they were completely overwhelmed.
Despite her experience, D'Amico says she would travel with Royal Caribbean again.
So, yeah, I don't know how that's the cruise line's fault. The other thing I'm going to be talking about today, too, is I'm about to sail on the Carnival Magic, and I'm in the Carnival Magic Facebook group for that sailing, and I'm going to be throwing some screenshots up here of some conversations that are going on in there with people about, some people are deciding that they're going to cancel their cruise because they're concerned about getting COVID on board, and other people are, other people don't want to get on board and have to deal with masks and all these, protocols. And I think one person even said, I can't believe I'm not going to be able to smoke in the casino. Well, okay. So, that's their opinion. That's their right to cancel the cruise if they don't want to go on it. And, I've said it many times. I do what I'm supposed to do for me, and I'm probably guilty of some of the things too. Like, I personally wear a mask everywhere I'm supposed to, but I have definitely gotten on a crowded elevator on more than one cruise, and it's, it's just the way it is. So, so I'm not going to say that I'm any, more, innocent than anybody else. But in my opinion, this is not the cruise line's fault. I think that the cruise lines do share some of the responsibility of it, because I think they could be doing a little bit more to enforce these protocols that they, have on paper. But let's remember, this is an industry that has created an entire science and art in escaping liability. And, don't get me wrong, in my opinion, a cruise is an amazing and just incredible vacation experience. And for whatever reason, the cruise lines feel like they can only provide that amazing vacation experience by limiting their liability. I don't know what that's all about, but whatever it's about, they must feel like that is how they have to do it. And regardless of that, I think they do an incredible job at providing an amazing vacation experience. And so, it should not come as a shock to anybody that they are not running around the ship enforcing these protocols. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think the cruise industry is gonna shut down either, because the CSO is about to expire, the conditional sale order, and that is really the only mechanism in place that would shut the cruise lines down, and it's about to expire and they're not renewing it. So, it's going to be up to the cruise lines to voluntarily follow all of the guidance and guidelines in the CSO through, at least April. I think most of them have extended, indicated that they're going to do it to at least through April of 2022. So, yeah. So here's the thing, right? There's all these articles, about, the Holland America Kazakh Dam being denied entry to a Western Mexican port because there were onboard cases. And of course, the Odyssey was denied access to Bonaire and Curacao because of the onboard cases, and so on and so forth. I mean, this is just the way it is, right? And I think we're gonna see more and more of it. And, everybody is up in arms about this. And, I'm gonna throw a couple of headlines up here. And one of them says, that they're basically, this person is quoted in the headline is saying they're upset that they think that the cruise line thinks that $100 is a sufficient, credit for, missing a port and so on. I mean, I understand, what the issue is. I understand what that passenger means when they say that, but at the same time, it is the passengers who are responsible for following the rules, and the passengers who are not following the rules. And, passengers are getting tested 48 hours before they get on the ship, and they're catching COVID, whether they're catching it because they're not responsible in everything that they do to get to the ship. So, most of us fly when we get to, most of us fly to get to a cruise. So are they not being responsible when they're flying? I mean, I don't know. I don't care, right? It's, one way or another, somebody's picking up COVID. A lot of people are picking up COVID in that time frame, or they're picking it up when they're in the ports or whatever because they're not being responsible, and they're bringing it back on board, and they're spreading it around because they're not following the protocols when they're on board either. So, in my opinion, this is the passengers again are to blame, and that's what my last video was. Who's to blame? The cruise lines or the passengers? Well, okay, I think both, right? But I think passengers have the lion's share of the responsibility. Choosing to be more like it was before the pandemic, we have all got to do our part. I noticed during my check-in this time for the Magic that there was a specific kind of like COVID-19 disclaimer that I had to, acknowledge. I don't remember that being in my previous Carnival check-ins, so I think that it's new. But the bottom line is that, there's also language in the cruise contract about all of it. So we have to start we have to start taking personal responsibility, and we have to start doing our part to, you know, wear masks and to social distance and to be more responsible. You know, these people who just won't wear masks, or this, you know, person who's walking around with an empty cup, right? You know, when I was on the Carnival Pride back at the end of September, early October, they were talking about sip and cover, you know, so they were talking about pulling your mask down, take a drink, put it back up. I don't really hear them talk about that too much anymore, and that was really the only time that I heard it being mentioned. But the cruise director, I think, was Frank the Tank, and on the Pride when I was on it, and he mentioned that quite a few times. But in any event, if we don't take responsibility, if we don't do our own part, then, you know, things aren't going to get better. They're going to get worse. More and more cruise ships are going to be denied entry. More and more people are going to feel like their cruise was a waste because they didn't get the experience that they bought and signed up for and expected, because they were denied entry. So we'd spend more time on the ship, and then they're going to be screaming about how they, you know, paid too much for, you know, just a cruise to nowhere. Yeah, so in any event, you know, leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think, you know, or don't leave a comment below and, you know, and just keep on complaining about it. But yeah, so I think that's going to do it for today's video. So thank you very much for tuning in. And if you like this video, don't forget to click that like button. And then don't forget to click the subscribe button. It won't cost you anything. You click it once and you're done, and it'll really help us out a lot. Thank you very much to those who have subscribed. We truly appreciate your support. And then don't forget to click the notification bell so that you know every time we upload a new video. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.